Warhammer is one of the most popular tabletop games of all time, spawning countless expansions over the 25 years it's been in production. However, like many other niche hobbies, it's tended to seem shut off to newcomers due to its high complexity and isolationist nature. So I decided to see just what Warhammer is all about by jumping straight into it with the help of a friend of mine. Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no worries.
Thanks for having me over, Jogan.
Hey, no problem.
So can you give me a quick rundown on what Warhammer is?
Warhammer is a tabletop strategy game where you paint models and you play games with them. It's like being a general of your army, just control the battlefield.
What's your first introduction to the game?
My friend's friend got me into the hobby where he thought that we could go into a games workshop one day and we will experience it, and I think that was my first introduction to the hobby.
And what aspects of the game did you enjoy?
Actually, every aspect made me into it. Like, because I used to do just modeling back in the days, but after building a model, you only put it as a display thing, and you don't get much out of it after that. But with this hobby, I could model something and paint them, and then after that I can play with it, which is amazing. So,
what is it about painting miniatures that's so satisfying?
I think it's being able to capture the detail in something that tiny and making it seem realistic if you look up close to it. So yeah.
Around how long does it take to complete a miniature?
For infantry models, it takes me about an hour each, but I haven't done the bigger models yet because I'm fairly new to the hobby. But from experience and from eyeballing it, it probably would take me half a day to paint a big model.
Do many people just paint and collect the miniatures rather than playing with them as well?
Yeah. My friend is into that, but he just likes the painting aspect of it instead of the playing.
What do you think deters people from playing?
I think it's just the many layers of complexity of the hobby. Like, painting something that tiny deters people because it seems really, really hard. And in addition, the rule books are like 200 pages long, so there's so much to read upon, and some people find that very deterring. But if you go through the process of learning it, it's actually it all fits in nicely.
How would you try and make it more accessible for newcomers?
I think people should like get into it with a friend, because then you have like someone who's at the same level as you go in, so you can support each other during the learning process. And I think that's what makes it easier to get into the hobby.
So it is quite a social game as well?
Yeah, it's very social. Like, there's a huge community built upon it, so yeah.
In order to get a better idea of how and why the players enjoy Warhammer, we went down to the local game store to talk with the staff and players there. Okay, so how long have you been playing Warhammer for?
For about 4 years, I think.
About 5 years since I was in first year uni.
19 years.
About a year and a half now.
Around 5 months now.
Different versions of it for about 15 years.
I started when I was in primary school, so 16, 17 years ago.
So what do you enjoy about playing Warhammer?
I enjoy that it's a hobby that's both artistic and challenging from a gameplay perspective.
Just the storyline, the fluff behind it. I'm probably the casual side of it. Just come in with mates, just have a few games. And
I enjoy the atmosphere and being around with friends. It kind of brings people together, in my opinion.
Strategy, sitting here at the store with mates and painting for all day.
Would you recommend playing Warhammer to other people?
Yes, I would, yeah.
I would, if they've got patience. You're not going to enjoy it if you don't want to put some time in.
Yes, in fact, I've already got a few of my friends into it who are collecting now.
I would certainly recommend it. Plenty in it to interest anyone.
Oh, definitely. It's a great hobby.
Plenty worse things you could be doing with your time.
A fairly broad group of people that come in through Games Workshop stores. Really broad spectrum of ethnicities and backgrounds. So it's a very broad hobby thing. Its complexity might be a thing that deters them. Detail of the painting, rules, all these things might seem a bit full on when they first start collecting. It's like any hobby. So if you talk to people about comic books or movies or cosplay or anything like that, they can get extremely passionate. Warhammer's no different.
After having spent a few hours learning Warhammer, I ended up really enjoying it. The community that has been built around this game is so tight-knit and still open to introducing newcomers into the game that they love. But for now, I'm going to head back in there.